Well, hey guys, been a while. Let me get seated down here. Well, today is January 16th, 2025. Um, yeah, I haven't posted anything for a couple of months, and there's a reason for it, other than I've just been lazy. Um, I'm going to go over a few things in this video, and so the first thing I'm going to go over is a couple of medical issues that's reared its head on me. And so about 6 weeks ago or so, I ended up in the emergency room. Um, Thought maybe possibly kidney stone, but it felt different than any of the kidney stones I ever had. So into the emergency room I went, and they did a bunch of blood work on me, and according to the blood work, the lipocene was extremely elevated, and so at that point in time they diagnosed me in the emergency room with pancreatitis. And subsequently, two more trips into the emergency room because of severe abdominal pains. And this is kind of something that's not new to me. I've had a lot of abdominal issues, just a lot of issues since Desert Storm. Being exposed to sarin nerve gas, mustard gas, anthrax, oil well fires, and just a whole gambit of a whole bunch of crap that I was exposed to. But that's and anyway. So the total of three trips into the emergency room, and on one of those trips, the last one I was in there, they actually they started to treat me for possible heart attack because my blood pressure was like 217 over, I don't even remember. It was just skyrocketed. And, so they ended up giving me some pain meds and a dose of morphine, and that dropped my blood pressure back down into the normal range. So, it was just a pain issue of why my blood pressure was so high. Some gastrointestinal doctor down in the Phoenix metro area, and his thought was that no, it's not pancreatitis because I only have one out of three different things that they look for pancreatitis, so he doesn't think that was the issue. So he set me up with some to do a CT scan of my abdominals, and ordered me on an extremely expensive medication because he thinks that a lot of this abdominal issue that I've been dealing with since 1991, since Desert Storm, may be a bacterial issue. And that kind of makes sense, because a lot of the stuff was, for instance, the first 2 weeks I was in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, at a place called Khobar Towers. After being there for over 2 weeks, they tell us, oh, by the way, don't drink the water here. It's not potable. Yeah, thanks, guys. Um, so the bacteria thing kind of made sense. And, well, I finally got the medication for that, and day before yesterday, yesterday. Yeah, so I'm starting my regimen on that. Did the CT scan of the abdominals. Everything checked out clear there. Everything was exactly how it's supposed to be. However, I've got uh, scoliosis in my lower spine, which, my knee injury I took in Desert Storm, pelvic tilt, spine gets offset. So that, excuse me, that all makes sense. And am I worried about scoliosis? No, I care less. Um, but in the meantime, um, a little bit of cognitive decline that I'm continually going through. and that's stemmed from a little bit of degeneration of the brain at the frontal temporal lobe, and so I got a little concerned about that, but uh, my breathing, it's just I quit smoking back in February, and it's like, why can't I not catch my breath? This whole last summer, everything I did up on the rim, and out doing the squatching stuff, and even cutting firewood. It's just like, something is wrong. It's well, I know I did a lot of damage to my lungs with smoking and oil well fires and what have you. It just didn't set right with me that I was having a harder time breathing after I quit smoking than when I was smoking. So, annual checkup with my VA doctor and explaining to everything that's going on, and she says that, all right, well, let's do a CT scan of your head again, and we'll also do one of your lungs. The head showed that yes, there's still some shrinkage, but it's just so minute that I'm not even concerned about it at this point in time, other than cognitive issues. So I've got a cognitive test coming up in not too distant future. Um, but with my lungs, or with the chest x-ray, they found in my mid to lower left lung, I have a collapse. And what that stems from is, the number one cause for this particular type, and I'm not even going to try and say what it is, because it's just one of those medical words that's just really weird to say. But it typically stems from anesthesia, uh, surgical procedures, and yeah, things not going right afterwards. And so sitting there thinking and going back to when I had my knee replaced back in December 11th of 2023, being discharged the same day as my surgery, which no big deal. I'm glad to be home. Rather be home instead of in a hospital bed. But the one thing that didn't register with me or my wife is that I didn't get my spectrometer. And, those of you who don't know what that is, you've probably seen them. Looks like a little toy from Mattel, a little plastic gizmo that's got a breathing tube coming off it, and it's got a little check ball inside. And it's used to, for exercise for the lungs, especially after general anesthesia. And that wasn't given to me. Whether it was the hospital oversight or the doctor oversight, what have you. I don't know. But I have a pulmonary test coming up on this coming Monday, and I'll know more after that. And, if it turns out that it looks like, kind of a oversight thing from the medical field, um, I may be seeking consultation uh, from an attorney for a malpractice thing. Whether I'm going to go that route, I don't know. I don't know all the details of this yet, but that's the likely culprit of why I've got a partially collapsed left lung. Um, with that being said, I'm still doing good. It's just I can't get a full breath. I don't know if I'm expelling enough CO2. My O2 intake, it's at rest. I'm like 96%. And, I live at 6,000 feet. So the average at 6,000 feet is between 90 and 96%. So my oxygen is fine. It's just I can't get that full breath. Um, so I've had a lot of this stuff going on, and a few other things. So that's kind of why I've been, you know, out of the field of play, so to say. Um, I am dying to get out, and it's thing that happened a few weeks back. As I was in bed asleep, I got the living crap zapped out of me twice, and in this vision, dream, whatever it was that I was having, I'd walked around. I want to say it's a corner of a garage or a bar or a barn or something, but there was about a 10-foot individual standing there, and he looks at me and smiles, and I was like, "Well, hello." He says, "We're ready to talk," and then I woke up. So yeah, I am dying to get back out, and I can tell you this next year, it's going to be, back to what it was for me about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, where majority of the time that I'm going to be out by myself. It's nothing against anybody else in the group. It's just I'm trying to get back uh, to the you know uh, brass tacks of the whole thing. Get back to my personal journey. Yeah, because I know there's some information that's wanting to be handed down to me, and I know having the other guys out there has no bearing on it whatsoever, but I miss my alone time. A lot of magical stuff happens when I'm out there by myself. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to getting back to. And church camp, I'm probably going to set up a permanent residence there this season. Be out there a lot. You know, um, Problems I've had with getting out, uh, doing the hours that I would normally do is, being down to one vehicle. Well, I'm now to the point where I think next month we're going to be going to buy Mama a new car, and so she'll have transportation. So, it's a lot easier for me to go disappear out in the middle of nowhere for 2, 3 weeks at a time, maybe a month at a shot. Um, you know, to do what I need to do for myself, and so that I'm looking forward to. Now, one of the other things I want to talk about is Squatch Camp. Uh, we have had you know zero moisture here in Arizona. I mean zero. The last moisture that we've had here where I live in Strawberry was November 3rd, and it snowed for about 20 minutes. Nothing that really stuck to the ground. And then, even monsoon season, we just didn't have any moisture up here. So we're dry as a bone. I mean, it's horrible. And I actually won't be surprised if we don't get some good moisture this winter and get a snowpack up on the rim, that they're going to shut the forests down. Um, as we just had a big fire, not a big, but it was big enough, called the Horton Fire. And those of you who've been with me long enough, over at Squatch Camp, or you can go back and watch some of my old videos um, out at a place that I call the phone booth. And I built a little seat out there out of sandstone, and it kind of looks off over this valley. Well, what's down below me is the Upper Horton Creek Valley, and down in the Horton Creek area, backpacking trails and stuff down there. Human caused fire, so somebody out backpacking had a fire get out of control on them, and I want to say it was about 4,000 acres that burned. It burned up that draw where I would sit. It burned where I would sit. And I don't think Squatch Camp itself got burnt, but everything west, and from where the road is, everything west of Squatch Camp burnt. Um, Videos I did of like a twisty tree, and you have to go back way in the Wayback Machine and watch some of those videos up there. But that all burnt. It wasn't a crowning fire, so it didn't get up into the tops of the trees. So it pretty much just burned everything on the ground. And I'm just dying to get back out there and spend some time there. Hopefully this next season, get down into Squatch Valley and what have you. It's just it was such a spiritual place for me because it's where this all really started kicking off. So it's kind of like these people in California watching their houses burn. That's how I felt with this fire. Because I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of hours in this spot, in this location, and it burnt. It's gone. So that won't be the same in there for a long time. But anyway, I've got places closer to home, and the church camp. I will definitely be spending a lot of time in there. That place is just phenomenal. Matter of fact, I was just in there last week with my wife and nephew and his girlfriend, and just kind of went out for a little day trip, and a little stock tank that's out there. It's a solid ice cube. It's I it's getting very cold up there, and we haven't had any moisture, and I'm dying to get out, but I'm not going to go out and freeze my ass off. I'm just not going to do it. Uh, hoping, within probably the next another 6 to 8 weeks, I'm hoping to get this new season underway. Um, but yeah, it's just been a fiasco. I've had a couple of people that have made some comments on here and asked some questions, and I don't remember what they were. I have to go back in. There's a couple of them that I wanted to address, and right now, off the top of my head, I just can't remember what they are. So I'll do another video responding to those, and I've had a couple of people reach out to me that are interested in getting involved in what I'm doing, and I will reach back out to you, and we'll talk. But right now, it's I've got medical stuff that I've got to get squared away. Uh, Before I worry about taking anybody else out with me or anything like that, I got to know where I stand on this stuff. But um, but the rest of the crew, they're all ticking along. Everybody's doing good, and yeah, I'm just I'm going to be getting back to the basics. I think I kind of I don't want to say overstretched or overwent my boundaries or anything like that. I think it's self evaluation is one of the most important things that a person can do in anything. And I've been doing a lot of self evaluation, um, with this subject and what I'm doing in it and what my goals are in it. And, I just have to stay focused. And what I've said from the very beginning, and this is a personal journey for me. And I've brought several people along on this journey, and it's been a wonderful thing. Um, but I've got some me stuff that I need to do with this. I need to make sure that you know what I know and what I think I know, and the things that that I hypothesize on, that I haven't climbed into something else. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you know, this is such an incredible phenomenon. And even as much as I know, and as much as I think I might know, um, there's just so much of this that we don't have answers to. And I am not the kind of person that is going to just take off running with something and say this is the way it is and this is what's going on. I can tell you the experiences that I'm having, and I can tell you what I think is going on with it. But to what is the right words for this? Um, to be dogmatic about anything with this is very difficult. And mind speak. This is a big bone of contention with me, um, because if I don't have the individual basically standing in front of me and I get mind speak, I can't say that it's them that are speaking to me. And you know, other than a couple of the individuals that I know really well and know their signature, with, when I get zapped or tingles and, um, hello, how you doing type of stuff. I even at times second guess that that's exactly what's going on. I have to stay grounded. I have to stay real with this. Um, because there's so many other things out there that uh, you know imposters, trickery. Unless the individuals are right there with me, and or something happens here at the house, and like when Indy would come and visit me, and that didn't happen real often, but it did happen a couple of times. And I knew it was him. And he has his personal little signature with it. And just the deep experiences and communications that I had with him, and with before he passed, and his mate Yedingen. I know her actual name. It's just for me to use with her. Um, I have been accepted into the fold of that particular family group. I was told just recently, you are in family. Um, as ludicrous as that sounds, but these unusual communications, you know, I'm not entirely sure where they come from. Sometimes, you know, is it just my head? Is it just me? Um, I know when it's not, or I'm pretty confident that I know when it's not just me. Um, but God, there we go, losing track of what I was wanting to say. Let me catch my breath here. Yeah, even talking sometimes will take my wind away. Um, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is, you know, there's so much more out there than just the forest people. To think that the forest people are the only special entities out there is just as ludicrous as thinking we are the only things out there. There's so much more out there, and so I have to get regrounded. I have to make sure that what I think I'm dealing with is exactly what I'm dealing with at all the time. At all times. When I'm out on site, out at you know we'll say Hilltop. When I'm out at Hilltop and I see the individual standing out there and I can hear them, making their clicks. And I get a communication from them or I get dropped to my knees. I know it's them that are doing this. But when I'm driving down the road or when I'm sitting at home and I get a little, I can't dogmatically say that it's them. And, so I'm at the point to where, I have to reevaluate. I have to go back to the beginning. I have to start over. And if some of the things that I believed were happening or wrong, you know what? I'm going to come straight out to you and I'm going to tell you, you know what? You know, I screwed up and or I was spot on. It's personal integrity, and I'm not going to challenge my integrity just for the sake of wanting to be right or wanting to be that guy. I just can't do that. So what I'm going to do is this season, I'm gonna be out with the guys, uh, or I should say, they'll come out and visit me while I'm out because I am going to be spending a lot of time out this year. God willing, things don't just go completely to shit any more than what they are. I mean, I don't have to explain to anybody that the world we live in today is not the world we lived in last week or the week before that or the week before that. Um, but at the same time, I'm not going to run and hide. I've got things that I need to do. And one of the other things that I'm really working on is my spirituality and my faith with our Lord and Savior Christ Jesus, and yeah, and it's just an integrated part of my life, and it's this is where my focus is, and yeah, geez. I've almost been rambling for 30 minutes, so I'm at 28 minutes. Guys, anyway, I'm sorry it's been so long that I've posted anything, and a couple people that's reached out to me. I'm gonna get back to you. I've just had a lot on my plate the last few months, and things are hopefully starting to level out. Mama's down in the Phoenix metro area right now. Her mom is in the hospital, not doing well. Yeah, so any of you who are into praying, please pray for my mother-in-law. Her health is not good, and neither is my father-in-law's, and they are just two of the most wonderful people I've ever known in my entire life. And so my prayers are with my wife and with my mother-in-law and father-in-law that everything goes well. Everything is up to our Creator, God the Father, and through Jesus. None of us leave here without His authorization, and yeah, He holds the keys to life and death. So if that's what the cards are, then that's what the cards are. But doesn't make things any easier, to say the least. But so I'm sitting here alone tonight. Mama's 110 miles away from me, and and my little Jasmine dog is no longer with us, so it's just me and my thoughts, and so I figured that I'd take a few minutes to reach out to you guys and just fill you in on what's going on with me, and where my head's at, and where my health is at, and um, looking forward to getting out and tearing it up this year. So, with that being said, as always, I want to thank each and every one of you. I mean, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. You know, unlike most channels, I'm not out here trying to make this thing grow. I'm not trying to, see how big I can get. And, it's not about fame or notoriety. This is my personal journey that, I'm sharing. And, but I thank each and every one of you. I love each and every one of you. And I mean that. I do. You know, we need more love in the world. We need a little bit of up there, down here. And, so as I always say, please, please, please pay attention to your surroundings. Be good to yourselves and be good to those around you. Spread the love, spread the peace. Love you guys. Peace out.